It's embarrassing, okay? So look, who have we got here? J.D. Vance, Eric Trump, Tommy Tuberville. What is the point? What is the point? And the networks just show it. Garbage.
Is there anything he could say that could put you in jeopardy?
So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you being here. The New York Times just came out with a poll that shows us leading everywhere by a lot. This is the cover story, and I think you'll find it very interesting, but I'm sure you've all read it. Leading in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada. Nevada, we are leading actually by 12 points, which is generally a Democrat state. I think we're probably leading in New Jersey. We had a rally, over 100,000 people this weekend. A lot of the mainstream media didn't want to say how many people, they didn't want to cover. But in fact, I don't think anybody did. I hear the crowd was not shown by the mainstream media, which is what they tell me, but that's par for the course. A couple of quotes that just came out. Fareed Zakaria, no friend of mine. The Trump trial is politically motivated. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump. Mark Levin, great guy, brilliant man. Our judicial system has blown up, it's broken. Andrew McCarthy. Trump should be acquitted in Manhattan, wholly independent of the plethora of constitutional infirmities in the prosecution. It should be thrown out for the most basic of reasons. Bragg cannot prove his case. Got no evidence. And I'm innocent. This is a political witch hunt, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it's, I tell you what, the appellate division on the judges should step in, because what this judge is getting away with is disgraceful, including the fact that we have thousands of people, we have 100,000 people in New Jersey. They would like to show their support. It's like an armed camp outside. You can't get one person within 3 blocks of this courthouse. Greg Jarrett, we're not, I mean, you take a look at this statement. We're entering the 4th week, and there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing. A crime that's not charged, it's a crime that, in which prosecutors won't even tell the defendant what it is. I have no idea what they're even doing. We have records, and they talk about bookkeeping. The only thing down in the bookkeeping is that we call a legal expense a legal expense. We don't call it a construction expense. We don't say for concrete work. We don't say for electrical work. We pay the lawyer a legal expense. And we have a legal expense is a legal expense. It's marked down in the book, quote, legal expense. It's perfectly marked down. The other side doesn't know how to handle it, but they say, let's indict him anyway, because that's what Biden, this all comes from Biden in the White House, by the way.
The defense has been preparing for Mr. Cohen for many, many months. It's useful to know that he'll be there on Monday. The question is, will the defense be able to rattle him? Jessica, when I did the first Trump impeachment, one of the very first witnesses I talked to was Michael Cohen, because he knows where all the bodies are buried. We investigated this identical payment, and I was very surprised by the smart, funny, warm, but also very tough and clearly not very fond of Donald Trump person who I met in my repeated conversations with him. They will certainly come after him, but I think Cohen may very well exceed expectations that people have. But I was there for the Stormy Daniels cross, and boy, they're going to come hammer and tongs, and we'll see how Mr. Cohen responds.
He's nervous.
What'd you do?
On Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, Donald Trump entered a Manhattan courtroom and pled not guilty to 34 crimes.
Squash it.
Fucking movie star. You're a fucking movie star.
Set tick, tick, tick.
You take my
Michael, a lot of people have asked me, because they know we've been friends a long time, why isn't Michael going with the president-elect? Have you decided to take on any role?
So I get that. Look, I get that question a lot. I'm obviously very loyal and very dedicated to Mr. Trump. I think he's going to be not just a good president, I think he's going to be a great...
As a Brit from the outsider looking in, I think we should start back in 2017 when Trump was good friends with Michael Cohen, his staff. Michael Cohen was having the red carpet rolled out by, his client, Hannity at Fox News.
I spoke yesterday to Mr. Trump. You'll be the first one to know, Sean, you and, of course, all your viewers. I'm going to be the personal attorney to Mr. Trump. I'm not going to be in government, but I'm going to remain technically in the same role for Mr. Trump, for President Trump, as I was when he was president of the Trump Organization.
So can I assume that in that role, not being a government role, that you'd have attorney-client privilege with President Trump?
Yes, of course. And that relationship hopefully will last, for not 4 years, but 8 years. I think he's a wonderful man. I think he's going to be an amazing president. The family is just, fantastic. They're behind him 100%. He's going to have Jared and Ivanka there, to speak to him on, that's right, on a day-to-day basis. But I will be in D.C. and in New York, anywhere Mr. Trump deems necessary.
And now the best detergent stroke bleach advert you've ever seen. Hannity cleansing himself of anything to do with Michael Cohen.
To clean this, you need this.
Bleach advert
To disinfect it, you need this.
Cleansing
Welcome to our world's all-in-one cleaning and disinfecting.
Sean Hannity.
All right, am I surprised by any of this? No, of course not, because this is what the media in this country does. Let me set the record straight. Here's the truth. Michael Cohen never represented me in any legal matter. I never retained his services. I never received an invoice. I never paid Michael Cohen for legal fees. I did have occasional brief conversations with Michael Cohen. He's a great attorney, about legal questions I had, or I was looking for input and perspective. My discussions with Michael Cohen never rose to any level that I needed to tell anyone that I was asking him questions. And to be absolutely clear, they never involved any matter, sorry to disappoint so many, matter between me or third party, a third group at all. And my questions exclusively almost focused on real estate. I said many times on my radio show, I hate the stock market. I prefer real estate. Michael knows real estate. So in response to all the wild speculation, I want to set the record straight here tonight. I never asked Michael Cohen to bring this proceeding on my behalf. I have no personal interest in this legal matter. That's all there is, nothing more. So maybe the media could try and start focusing in on the biggest abuse of power scandal in this country, or maybe the forgotten men and women in this country who the 2016 election was about. Jobs, getting off of poverty, out of food stamps. Maybe we'll focus on that. National security, 105 out of 105 missiles hit their targets.
And as things got a little bit tense, Michael Cohen got himself a lawyer to run to clickbait cable news station CNN and scream against Michael Avenatti. Michael Avenatti being the then lawyer of the porn star that Michael Cohen gave $130,000 to. Michael Avenatti subsequently also found himself locked up. Keeping up? Good.
I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's talk about the kind of man. Spoken to Stormy Daniels. But he keeps sidetracking. Well, that's what he's allowed. He's allowed to speak. Correct. Right. Let's talk about Michael Cohen, what kind of man this is. This is the kind of guy who claimed, in connection with that story, that there's no such thing as spousal rape. The guy doesn't even know the law. He's a thug. Right. Your friend is a thug. Well, thank you. He's a thug. That's $1 million. No, that's $3 million. $1 million. You know what? You're a thug. Anyone who come on here. Wait a second. Anyone, you see, anyone. By the way, he's a thug. By the way,
a friend of mine uses the expression "sing like a canary." I will now give you a full definition of it, but it's more like "sing like a choir to infinity."
He is a racist. He is a con man, and he is a cheat. Mr. Trump knew of and directed the Trump-Moscow negotiations throughout the campaign and lied about it. He lied about it because he never expected to win. He also lied about it because he stood to make hundreds of millions of dollars on the Moscow real estate project. He asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair and to lie about it to his wife, which I did. I am providing a copy of a $35,000 check that President Trump personally signed from his personal bank account on August 1st of 2017, when he was President of the United States, to reimburse me, the word used by Mr. Trump's TV lawyer, for the illegal hush money I paid on his behalf. Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries shitholes. In private, he is even worse. He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't a shithole. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. A lot of people have asked me about whether Mr. Trump knew about the release of the hacked documents, the Democratic National Committee emails, ahead of time. And the answer is yes. In July of 2016, days before the Democratic Convention, I was in Mr. Trump's office when his secretary announced that Roger Stone was on the phone. Mr. Trump put Mr. Stone on the speakerphone. Mr. Stone told Mr. Trump that he had just gotten off the phone with Julian Assange, and that Mr. Assange told Mr. Stone that within a couple of days, there would be a massive dump of emails that would damage Hillary Clinton's campaign. Mr. Trump responded by stating to the effect, "Wouldn't that be great?" Donald Trump is a man who ran for office to make his brand great, not to make our country great. He had no desire or intention to lead this nation, only to market himself and to build his wealth and power. Mr. Trump would often say this campaign was going to be the greatest infomercial in political history. I may not be able to change.
And Michael Cohen subsequently ended up in jail.
President Trump's longtime personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, is going to jail. Cohen has just been sentenced in a New York City courtroom on multiple charges, including his role in paying hush money during the 2016 election to two women alleged to have had affairs with Trump. Payments prosecutors say were coordinated with and directed by Donald Trump himself. Let's go right to our Justice Department correspondent, Pete Williams, in our Washington newsroom. Pete?
Well, this is lower than the prosecutors in New York had recommended. The probation department in its pre-sentence report had recommended something just shy of 4 years. So the judge is on the low end of the sentencing guidelines here, 3 years in prison. Cohen himself spoke to the court today, saying that he lost his way, that his blind loyalty to Trump led him to choose darkness over light. The prosecutors in New York had urged a tough sentence, what they called substantial prison time, saying that a lighter sentence would send the wrong message, that he admitted trying to influence the election, that he deserves a tough sentence to promote deterrence. But the prosecutors from Robert Mueller's office were kinder on him today in court. They said that he was very helpful to their investigation, not only the potential Russian connection, what they called the core of their work, but also another case that they couldn't say in court. The judge, though, said that Michael Cohen committed what the judge called a smorgasbord of criminal conduct, marked by deception, greed, and ambition with broad public consequences. The judge said he lost his moral compass and sought to profit from his association with Trump, and that as a lawyer, Michael Cohen should have known better. So our understanding here, Lester, is that he will serve this sentence concurrently with the special prosecutor crime of lying to Congress. So that means no additional time for that offense. 3 years in prison. He'll stay out of prison until a sentencing date. So the judge will set a date. The judge will set a date for reporting to prison. And of course, Cohen's lawyers can also try to appeal this conviction and ask that he stay out but their appeal rights are very limited here because he did plead guilty. So I wouldn't expect, I mean, they could argue about procedure here, but I wouldn't expect an appeal. He'll stay out until he's given a date to show up to prison to begin to serve this sentence, Lister.
Now, we recognize he didn't have an official cooperation agreement, but to the extent that he was telling what he reportedly knew to the Mueller team, will that continue in this interim period before he reports to prison?
Yes, I think so. And, you know, there is a procedure in federal court where if cooperation continues after sentencing, the prosecutors can go back to the judge, even if somebody's already serving a sentence, and say that it should be reduced. So there is a procedure for that. I can't imagine the prosecutors in New York would go along with that. I don't think it's likely that Mueller's people would do that, but if he continues to talk to them as he...
Donald Trump's prison cell, the surroundings are like any other small enclosed space. The walls are gray concrete, and a narrow cot with a thin mattress is the only piece of furniture. A tiny metal sink and toilet combo sit in one corner, while a small barred window allows a sliver of natural light to filter in. The sound of clanking bars echoes through the air as guards patrol the hallway outside.
What? What? What is...
President Trump is 76 years old. He will die in federal prison.
Trump spends his days pacing the limited floor space. The once powerful man now finds himself in a place of confinement.